possession and passes in the final third. So they will be hugely disappointed to not come away with anything at Molineux tonight. And what kind of implication will that have in the race for a place in the Champions League next season? A completely opposite story, though, for Rob Edwards and his Wolves team. We can get some reaction now from Jose Sarr and Adam Armstrong, who are chatting to Johnny Phillips.
Jose, there were great scenes of celebration at the end of the match. What did you think of the whole night and that performance?
I think it was very good from every team, every players. I think they did well. I think the fans deserve it too, because I know that it's very important to the fans because it's a derby. And of course we are happy because we give them this win.
It comes on the back of that draw against Arsenal here as well, where you showed the fans what sort of team this is. Does this show there is still a lot of character remaining in this side now?
Yeah, we have a lot of character. We, as I said before, we will keep fighting game by game, and in the end we will see what will happen.
Adam, you haven't been scarred by what's gone before here. What sort of club have you found that you've come into?
You know, it's been brilliant since I first come in. I knew the circumstances before I came, but I can't thank the praise that everyone's given as soon as I've come in. It's been excellent, and performances like that is why we play football. You know, we know where we are in the league. It hasn't been good enough, but tonight's like that, in a derby, it's massive.
It was a wonderful opening goal, and it was your touch that set it up. Was it a pass, or were you trying to control it?
That was a pass. It was a pass. Like I said, took a touchdown, and luckily Joe was there to finish it off.
It was a great finish from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. I think, you know, we knew we were going to get chances in the game today. With it being a derby, we had to put in a good fight. And yeah, I thought the boys were outstanding in the second half as well.
In terms of a team performance, Jose, it was a clean sheet as well. Great for you personally, but does it show the team is showing strength there as well?
Yeah, I think from all the defenders, even from all the team, because at the time that we attack, we defend too, and I think everyone did well, and a clean sheet is very good for everyone, even for me, of course. I'm happy, and yeah, we keep fighting. And
your centre-half, Yerson Mosquera, he plays on the edge. You know, he got very annoyed that he got booked, but is that just the type of character he is?
Yeah, it's Yerson Mosquera. It's always the same.
Adam, what can be the target going forward now? Because obviously it's very difficult in the league, and most people would accept it's gone. But what do you want to show the supporters between now and the end of the season?
I think I've said it before, we have to take every game as it comes, as cliche as it is. You know, we have to keep putting in working performances like tonight. And you've seen at Arsenal when we played here, we have to show the fight every week. The fans know what they're going to get from us, hard work every week, and if we can perform like that, it's going to help us.
What do you think Rob Edwards is doing for the side at the moment?
Yeah, he's been brilliant, you know, for me since I first come in. I knew what to expect. And like you said, it's a hard-working team that's getting put out every week, and tonight's like that. We have to give it for the fans. You know, they've been lacking a few wins, and look, tonight's like a night was amazing.
Jose, if there was one frustration, would it possibly be that you couldn't have shown this earlier on in the season?
A what?
If there was a frustration with what's going on now, is it that you didn't show this sort of form and this sort of performance earlier in the season?
Yeah, it's true. Even today I say that why we didn't play like that from the beginning. But yeah, so what happened, we have to continue fighting.
Well, well done tonight. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Well, there you go, Lee. There's confirmation. Adam Armstrong meant it. It was a pass. Almost as good as your assist all those years ago.
I'm claiming that one at the start of the show.
It took them an hour, Wolves, to get on the score sheet, but it was a brilliant goal, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, it was well worked, and I think that's one thing that you'll say about Rob Edwards and this Wolves side is that I think when you compare the two sides tonight, there was that hunger, and this just proves it. I mean, listen, it's a clever bit of play in that midfield area. Ross Barkley just come on the pitch, actually, and if you watch...
He says this, he means this.
Yeah, well, listen, the ball that's played in from the right-hand side, Chachua plays it into his feet, and then there's a big question mark whether it was a touch or was it for himself. He said it was an assist. Well, we'll give him that one. But just in the midfield, this is where it all breaks away, and this is what I say about hunger, desire. This is what Wolves have had all evening. The ball played in, whether it's a touch, whether it's not for him, the finish is outstanding, it really is. And the big question mark and the highlight that we've just seen there with Ross Barkley, look at his positioning, he's just come on the pitch, that's his marker, that's hunger and desire. Stay with your player, stay with your marker, and that may not happen, but credit to Wolves. You know, it's well worked from that right-hand side, from the middle. He's the one that instigates it and goes and gets on the end of that.
And Izzy, it was a goal that really changed the game, wasn't it, for Wolves?
It was, because it's 43. This goal goes in 43 seconds after Unai Emery had made the double change. Ross Barkley being that player that we've just highlighted there, you know, potentially loses his man and then ends up scoring. But it completely changed the dynamic of the game, and it's probably the goal that everybody wanted, because it then brought Villa into life, and then that's how Wolves ended up getting that second right at the very end. But I think from Villa's perspective, really poor showing today. No response to conceding that goal on the 60th minute. You've still got time to get back in the game at that point. They showed no desire. Emery made changes, but they just had no impact on the game. And I just thought, on the whole, Aston Villa just looked so disconnected. They just didn't have any impetus to go and make something happen. You could see visible frustrations amongst the players, and maybe the pressure's getting to them.
They very nearly got an equaliser right at the end, Aston Villa, but it opened up a little bit of space for Wolves to really seal those 3 points.
Well, listen, Aston Villa were chasing the game, wasn't they? And this is what happens when you chase games late on in matches, particularly when there's really something to play for. Both sides had something to play for, but this was really, really good counter-attack. They get fortunate, yes, the ball just deflects and ricochets into Rodrigo Gomez's sort of path, but he's still got an awful lot to do. You know, he's got to swivel, make sure he gets the contact and make sure he knows where he's situated in and around the goal area, and he does that. He has a quick look over his shoulder. Martinez comes out, and there's just no chance. That just put the final nail in the coffin for Aston Villa, because that just typified their performance overall. And let's be quite honest, Wolves deserved everything they got for having that little bit of fight and hunger, but this was a counter-attack right at the end of the game where Villa were chasing the game.
We wondered if it was going to be the same desire, that fight that we saw in the game against Arsenal, and we definitely saw that tonight, didn't we? Yeah,
they've just picked 4 points up at home against 2 of the top 3. I think from that perspective, you'd see the celebrations. Rob Edwards, honestly, the work he's done since he came in to Wolves, you can see it's visible. I mean, that performance today, second half in particular, reminded me a little bit of the way Brentford have played this season under Keith Andrews. You know, that aggression, that desire, never give up. They were right up in Aston Villa's faces everywhere on the pitch, and that's what's got them the win in the end, because Villa just couldn't match it in any sense throughout the 90 minutes. And like we said, Wolves just got their reward, and it's a fantastic win for Rob Edwards.
We are still waiting for some Aston Villa reaction. We're hearing that they are still in the dressing room, so as soon as we get that, we'll give that to you. But Izzy, you said that they might be feeling the pressure. Does this set of results sort of talk to that story? Only 3 wins in the last 10.
3 wins in the last 10 obviously isn't good showing for a team that's wanting to push up. We were saying, myself and Lee, around possibly maybe Aston Villa were victims of looking upwards rather than maybe feeling the pressure of what's coming underneath them in terms of the fight that Liverpool, Manchester United and Chelsea are going to add to pushing them into that Champions League spot. And I think you just look at the colours on those screen there, and you just represents massive inconsistency. Go for it.
No, I think you look down at the sort of fixtures there. Izzy, sorry to interrupt you there, but you look sort of from Forest downwards. And for me, you know, the Brentford one jumps off the page, the Everton one jumps off the page, the Leeds one, you know, the Bournemouth one, you can understand they're on a bit of a run. And then you go tonight to Wolves away from home. It's not good enough. It really isn't. You know, the season prolongs, doesn't it? For all the good form you've had, poor start they've had, they showed character, showed belief. I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm really not. And that typifies the way that looks at the moment, and it does look ugly. It really does. And for me, that Villa's season at the moment is hanging in the balance. It really is. Look at the FA Cup game against Newcastle. Wasn't good enough. Got knocked out. Yes, they're in the Europa League next stages. I'm starting to panic about that now, because are we saying, yes, 3 big players that we touched on at the start of the show are not available? That's got to be put to bed. There's some big games ahead for Villa, and now they're going to 2 absolutely huge games. Clubs that are chasing exactly what they want. And at the moment, I can see Villa's season falling apart.
OK, let's get some Aston Villa reaction then, shall we? Morgan Rogers is chatting with Johnny Phillips.
Morgan, thanks for talking to us on a really difficult night. What was your assessment of the performance as a whole?
Yeah, disappointing. We didn't do nowhere near enough, I think, to create chances to score goals. I think we pretty much controlled the game. I think in parts of it, I don't think it was all doom and gloom. They took their chances, they got, and we ultimately didn't create enough to quite get the goal. So yeah, really disappointing.
You wouldn't have known the way it was going to unfold from the start. Very early on, you did create a couple of chances, and you looked to get on the front foot. Why do you think that drained away?
They're at home. They're in front of their crowd. they're a good team. I know their league position isn't great, but they're still a good team. They've got really good players, and it's always difficult to play. And they grew back into the game, which was fine, which was expected. They knew they were going to have their moments, but I thought as a whole in the first half we managed the game as well as we could. And then in the second, I think we tried to do the same. I think they had a bit of a spell on top and got their goal, and then from there on, we're just pushing and trying to get the equaliser, but we didn't quite do enough.
In a way, Wolves have got nothing to play for in that sense, and maybe can play with a bit of freedom, where there's a lot of pressure on you to start this charge up the table and keeping these Champions League places. Does that weigh on the players?
Yeah, but it probably shouldn't. We just need to keep playing how we are. We're here for a reason. We deserve to be here, and we need to not forget that. I think we're maybe overplaying and overthinking about it too much. I think obviously the run we went on before and then the run lately hasn't been quite the same, which is expected. Sometimes you have to come back down to earth, and you're playing very good teams, and on any given day you can win and lose, and that's the battle of the Premier League. We need to try and stay focused and keep doing what we're doing and get back to what we know. We had a difficult run at the start, so we know how to kind of clip back into gear, and we're going to do that. So yeah, it's just about staying patient, and hopefully our time will come.
It was an incredible run you went on to get into this position. In a sense, was it unrealistic then to keep up that level of performance, especially when you look at the players missing through injury?
Yeah, but we don't want to put any excuses. We've got more than enough in our changing room that are fit to win every game of football, so we're not going to put any excuses on that. We wanted to keep the run going. Sometimes it's not quite possible, of course, but yeah, we were striving to try and win every game, as we always do, and naturally sometimes it happens and you don't win every game that you want, but there's nothing to be too down about. We're still third in the table, we're still looking up, not looking down. Of course we've got good teams around us and competing, but this is exactly where we want to be at this stage. Every season we take this, so we need to not be too down, not be too disheartened, and pick ourselves up and go again.
So tell us about that mood in the changing room right now. Is there a sense of being down, or frustration, anger, or is it a case of no, we are here and we deserve to be here?
No, of course there's frustration, there's anger. We set our standards so high. We come into every game to win, and we believe we have the ability and the quality to win. It's not realistic to win every game, of course not, but we go with that belief. So when we don't quite hit it and we're not quite at our best, we're going to be disappointed. But yeah, we also need to look at the realisticness of the realism of it, of where we are and how well we've done, and we need to not forget that we're third in the table. We're doing really well. We're pushing every team. We're playing really good football. We're doing really well as a whole. So yeah, there's nothing to worry about. We just need to know what we're good at, know what got us here, and get back to it.
A win here against Wolves would have really set you up for these games against Chelsea and Manchester United to come. In a way, does it put a huge amount of pressure on those two matches now?
Not any more so than it would have been anyway. They're two massive games, but they're the games you want to play, and with so much on the line, with so much meaning behind it, and we've got to stand up for ourselves and show what we're about, and show why we're still ahead of them, and why we deserve to be where we are.
Really appreciate your time. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
So nothing to worry about, Lee. What did you make of that interview? Because he was quite defiant, wasn't he, in his answers as well, but he did allude to there was that little bit of pressure. Are they perhaps feeling that at the moment?
Yeah, they must be feeling the pressure. They must be. And I know he's alluding to that he felt that the game wasn't as bad as what it seems, and listen, it was. It was a night tonight for me, for rolling your sleeves up, really getting about this Wolves side, really showing what you're all about, showing character, showing belief. I didn't see that, and for me, yes, you can go on great runs throughout the season. This is where the crucial part of the season actually is, regardless. You can paper over the cracks. You've got to get on with things. I'm not seeing that at the moment, and I haven't seen that over recent weeks neither. And that's what worries me. So, yes, there is time to worry, because the two games that we've alluded to, Manchester United are in great form, Chelsea are in great form, Liverpool are chasing the pack as well. All of a sudden they're dropping points, Villa. And my thought process now is that this is where you need big characters, you need big people that are going to stand up in that change room. I've been around the club this season and it's been great. The vibes have been good, the fans have been great. Everyone's starting to feel a bit negative now, and this is the problem. Big clubs deal with that, big players deal with that, and this is where Villa are in a great position. I mean, once so long ago, we're talking about Villa, potentially winning the Premier League. All of a sudden now, we're talking a possibility that they could drop out the top five, end up finishing sixth. This would be disaster for the season, for what they've produced from a bad start to a great middle section. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you're starting to think, are they going to fall away? My big concern, and I can certainly highlight some of the things that Morgan said, and I can understand certain things, but for me, I think it's typified the way their season's been. They haven't been clinical just of late, which they were in that great spell. Things went well for you. When things aren't going for you, this is what I mean. The changing room has to stick together. The manager has to stick together, and they have to start producing results. Listen, I'm not saying Villa can't go and win the next 2 games, but from what we've seen from the past few weeks, it's been nowhere near. And I feel the next 2 games are absolutely vital that they get something out of them.
We expect it's going to be the top 5 that are going to make the Champions League spaces. When you look at the end of this weekend, what's happened between Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool, Aston Villa are going to have to keep a close eye on those games because these are the teams that are very close behind them at the moment, is he?
I know, and we're talking about a team who are the Premier League champions in Liverpool, Chelsea, who have got huge goals expectations to be in that top 4 bare minimum. Manchester United are a different beast at the moment under Michael Carrick, and I think that's probably where Aston Villa, I mean, Morgan Rogers alluded to it there, feeling the pressure a little bit. That's totally normal, but I think you hit the nail on the head, Lee, in terms of the characters, and I think you go into the performance today and the performance against Leeds last weekend, and to me, I wasn't looking at an Aston Villa side that believed in themselves that they were going to score. And I think you look at Arsenal, you look at Manchester City in particular, look at Manchester United at the moment, there's a genuine belief that they are going to score. And whether that be from a set piece, a scrappy goal, you know, a bit of excellence. But the way that Aston Villa approached this game tonight, the chances they had, we go back to the first half, Pau Torres, basically a free header inside the 6-yard box in the first half. And then, of course, the second half, Onana. And it throws me back to last weekend against Leeds. Massive chance for Onana as well. Just fails to score on those sort of scrappy goals. And you just kind of think when things are not going your way in that sense, you have to keep going. You have to keep going. They just haven't found that belief. Yeah,
and I think that was happening for them when they was having a good run. You know, at times, you know, things were dropping. They were scoring late goals, which they have done. They're scoring goals outside the box. I do feel that Villa being in this position, and probably haven't been in this position for quite some time. Let's face facts. You know, I think if you reverse it and add Villa at sort of 5th or 6th chasing the pack down, I think that would probably suit them more. Yeah. Being in that position, for me tonight, from a personal perspective, I'm not looking down, I'm looking at Arsenal. I'm thinking we could be 8 points, you know, closer to Arsenal and putting pressure on Manchester City. I'm thinking runners up, possibly in the Premier League. I'm not thinking about Manchester United. Now watching the game today, I'm not sure what Villa were actually thinking. I feel that they're actually scared. They're a bit worried. They seem fragile, and it proved today in that performance. It really did. For all the key moments that they had and didn't produce, as we said, the Pau Torres chance, the Onana chance, you don't finish them chances off. That starts, for me, it starts to feel negative. The confidence, like, it just zaps out of the team. So that's where I feel they're needing a big leader back in there. They're needing a McGinn back there as soon as possible. I think he can drive the ship and get them going again, but run out of time. The games are coming thick and fast, and they've got 2 massive ones coming up.
Looking at the bigger picture then for Aston Villa, if they do drop out of these Champions League places, is the biggest concern perhaps about what their team looks like next season if they're not playing in Europe's top competition?
It's not just the team, I don't think. I think, yes, I mean, we've seen what they did in the summer. They haven't been able to bring players in the summer. And Unai Emery's done a fabulous job at the football club. There's no doubt of it. My concern is that the frustration's creeping in with Unai Emery. And let's be honest, if it's not Champions League next season, my concern is, what does Unai Emery start to think? Because he wants to win trophies, he wants to win silverware, he wants to be successful. That's my concern, is that if Villa are dropping out of the Champions League, they're not going to be able to bring big players into the football club. The football club has stemmed and been on a journey where they've got themselves into Europe, they've had a taste of Champions League. That's what they want. The club are big, successful owners. They want this club to strive on. But dropping out this season and not being amongst the Champions League, we know what the financial structure is for that, to take the club forward and to attract players into the club. My concern is the manager. You know, will he want to stay and will he want to ride this journey that they're on?
Yeah, and I think I just look back into the game and the way that it kind of played out today, and probably more towards you, Lee. Do you think John McGinn in there would have changed that performance?
I just think John McGinn, he gives them something, doesn't he? You know, he'll go and make a challenge. Yeah. It needed something like that tonight. It's a wet, zippy surface. Go and make a tackle. Show something. Show a bit of character. Show someone that is going to get the lads turning around. John McGinn would have been pointing a few out today. He would have been. that's what it really does need in that Villa side at the moment. I don't see anything like that.
All right, then, let's get some more Aston Villa reaction, shall we? Unai Emery is chatting with Johnny Phillips.
Unai, it was a difficult night for your team. What was your assessment of that performance as a whole?
Congratulations for the players, how the fantastic season we are doing.
In terms of tonight, though, what did you see out there from your players?
Fantastic first half. Fantastic first half. We dominated. We were creating chances. We were not conceding nothing. And we deserved more the first half. The second half, we started poor. They started a little bit pushing, and even we were losing some balls. The first half, we were not losing. And they got our box. Not clear chances, but they got our box the second half. And when they scored the goal, was more difficult the match, because of course they did their match after their goal, lost time. For me, 7 minutes was I think more time we lost on the field with the referee as well, and we had one chances to draw with Amadou Onana, and we didn't score, and we lost. But fantastic season we are doing, and still in our average to get our ambitious objective in front, another team they are contender.
We spoke to Morgan Rogers. He said it was important that the players remembered it has been a great season so far and you've deserved to be where you are in the league. Is that your message to the players now when the pressure is increased after a game like that?
Yes, absolutely. Now is the moment to be together and to understand how is going the season, to understand we started poor, to understand how we reacted, to understand now the moment we are. We were recovering more or less, because the last 3 matches we drew 2 and we won 1. But today, again, we didn't achieve the result we needed, but still being in our hands to get our ambitious objective to be in the top position.
How much of a concern was it today that as the second half went on, it did drop off? You weren't able to maintain the levels that you showed early in that first half?
Yes, we tired it. But of course, the opponent they are playing, and the opponent as well, they have their structure and they have their very good players. And if you are with your chances of the first half dominating and not getting the advantage you deserve, can happen it. They can score 1 goal like they did the second half, and after their goal, the match was completely different, and they stopped a lot the rhythm in the game. Even like that, we try it, and we got their box with corners, with some shoot, with one good chances for Amadou Onana. And after it, of course, they scored the second goal, but was something not relevant after how we were finishing the match.
I saw you on the technical area urging your players on at times and encouraging them. Were you looking for more from them in terms of intensity, in terms of effort? What was it?
Pushing, helping, supporting, trying to be positive, trying to take as well our rhythm, building the ball, building in combination, and trying to dominate the match, and again to attack against them, not playing a little bit breaking the rhythm, because sometimes we're crashing against them, driving against their defense, and we needed to play thinking like we are building the team, and then try to use our individual skills together to get it. And of course, the most important was our mentality. Tried, keep going, and now after finish the match and we lost, keep going forward. We are in the average. We are still being in a very good season. Of course, we must continue being consistent, with demanding and getting again confidence. But we are doing a fantastic season, and this is the message.
You're missing key players as well, particularly in the midfield areas as well. That mentality is something you'll really need going forward now, isn't it? It looked like a heavy pitch today, and the players were perhaps struggling physically, but the mentality has to be there.
We have Amadou Onana, we have Douglas Luiz, we have Ross Barkley, we have Lamar Bogart. Of course, we have some play injured, but it's something we know can happen. But overall, with every players we have, we are here. And we are here, and of course now we must continue being together and keep going forward.
After the second goal, you headed straight down the tunnel at the end. Was that just frustration on your part?
No, the match was finished.
Thanks for your time, Unai.
Okay.
Well, Lizzie, it feels like there's a real sense of trying to stay positive from Unai Emery, where he says they have to just keep going, keep looking forward. Is that what you have to do when you're a player in this situation? Don't let a result like this get to you?
100%. I think you have to capture it now, feel it. They have to take in the emotion and how they feel, and they can't let it happen again. Lee alluded to it earlier around the performance. I think the result is one thing today. It's a poor result, but I also thought the performance was poor. Emery referred to theirs. The first half was good. I thought in terms of chances, yeah, okay. But I don't think they were the better team in the first half. I think Wolves went in at half-time probably feeling the stronger out of the two mentally in terms of confidence. But it's a tough run-in. We can see that. And the next two Premier League games coming up, Chelsea and Manchester United, we've spoken about, they're chomping at the bit. They're pushing for that fourth spot in between, but they're pushing for third, and they want to be where Aston Villa are. So it's a case from Aston Villa's camp. You've got to capture where you're feeling. You've got to capture how you're feeling, and then you've got to kind of use it to motivate you. And Emery just made a point there about being the team that's got them there this far. They're the team that can continue. And it's a huge test of character over the next few weeks for that side.
Of course, Lee, Aston Villa are going to be wanting to stay in those places in the Premier League table. We've been focusing a lot on where they are in the Premier League. There is another avenue, though, for them to get into the Champions League. That's, of course, if they win the Europa League. You can see that they've got the two games against Lille. Unai Emery is a specialist at the Europa League, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And he is. And to be honest with you, listen, nothing to given in football, is it? You can have the best manager in the world. You can have top managers who have had success. And he has had success in this competition. This isn't a walk in the park at all, is it? I mean, Lille are no mugs. I think once you get to this sort of latter stages of the Europa League, you're coming up against some top sides. It changes, the whole dynamics change to what you're used to in the Premier League. He's brilliant at doing that and making sure he gets the right blend. But I think listening to that sort of interview there, I think he's totally trying to protect his players. He's trying to protect the confidence. He's trying to make them believe still, which he's a manager. That's why he's been so successful. But these fixtures that are coming up, you can't start thinking that I listen to a lot of Villa fans and they think, oh, we'll win the Europa League. It's not as easy as that. We got knocked out of the FA Cup with a strong side. We're sort of drifting away from the top three at the moment. So it is about that re-galvanising for me.
You want to keep it in your own hands, don't you?
Yeah, no.
Big smile on his face. We can hear from him now. He's with Johnny Phillips.
Rob, that was some performance and some nights when you look at the celebrations at the end. Talk us through your own thoughts on it.
Yeah, very really proud. That's why I came here. Nights like that. Football's great. I know we're in a difficult position. I love football. I love it on nights like that.
Is it one of those games as well where you felt the players really stuck to the game plan, showed what they're about, and cut out the mistakes?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. I think you nailed it. Real commitment. Didn't get everything right in the first half, but Villa are really good and they're clever and they can manipulate you and move you into places to try and make it difficult to press. We just did one or two things at half time. I thought the second half was excellent. I know that's when we got our goals and people might look at it and just think, oh, what a great second half performance that was. But I thought we really grew into the game. I thought we were very, very good against a brilliant team. So you've got to be pretty good to be able to get a result like that against them.
What were those adjustments you made at half time, even if they were just slides, just to get on the front foot more?
Well, we just told Armour that we pressed slightly differently. We just asked Armour just to do the two centre-backs to try and keep them one way and have JJ and Mane on the two pivots for them, because it was difficult for us to constantly get pressure on the centre-backs and Onana, for instance, or Douglas Luiz. So, yeah, we just adjusted that. If we were going to give anyone free, it was going to be a centre-back and then go to work from there. But we still thought there'd be lots of opportunities for us in transition when we won the ball back. There were spaces there. There was moments that we didn't take full advantage of in the first half. So it was nice to get the one right at the end from a transition and a fast attack when they're committing more bodies forward. But those are the sort of spaces that Villa will give you because their line's so high. But yeah, just really pleased that we were ruthless when we needed to be. Defending was amazing. You know, everyone from Jose Sarr right the way through, there was a desire to block and defend the goal with our lives. And that's what you need, not just in a derby, all the time. So it's a really good night for us.
That solid base at the back is something you haven't really had since you've been here as well. And when you get a performance like that...
Thanks, Johnny. We've had a few clean sheets, to be fair, since we've been here.
No, in fairness, what I'm saying is the team at the whole has struggled to keep clean sheets, but that was a really big, important one against a good team.
Of course it was, yeah, really difficult to keep Villa out, and anyone in the Premier League. But we have been more solid. A lot of, not all about stats, but you look at a lot of stats, and over the last 15 games or so, we'll be right up there for defensive work. It's just there might be the odd mistake, like you said, or we get punished at this level. But yeah, tonight, zeros and ones are going to give you a chance to get points and get something from games. We've had a few, but tonight was really important. If you give Villa something to hold on to as well, it's really difficult. They can sort of kill you with their quality as well, Ren, and we didn't allow that.
Can I just ask you about Jackson Chichura as well? The fans can be a bit sort of critical of his performances. He looked a changed man in that second half as well, and he seemed to really respond to some of your instructions about getting forward and showing what he's about.
Yeah, he's a really honest guy, and he really does. He gives everything. And the fans, because he's so quick, there's an expectation, right? Just go, beat your man, and go and put the cross in. We're really trying to encourage that and keep that. I will clap if he goes and gets at his man and kicks it into the stand, or. If it does go out for a goal kick, I'll applaud that because I want him to be brave, I want him to be positive, be on the front foot. I thought in the second half there were some really good examples of him committing Digne or whoever he was going at and being really positive. He put a couple of great balls in. He was obviously involved in the goal. And his defensive work was excellent as well. So I always want everyone to stick by the lads and keep backing them and believing them because he's got to be brave in those moments and try. And even if he makes a mistake, keep backing him.
And overall, is this something to really build on going forward as well? Because everyone still looks at the league position, but there must be a frustration that you weren't here earlier in a way when you're getting these sort of performances and results.
Yeah, thank you. That's nice. Yeah, look, we're improving. That's all we can do, and that's all we've ever tried to do, Johnny. So we'll keep our head down, stay grounded. Because you're right, we know where we are in the league, so it's important that we just keep working really hard, showing that spirit and fight, and pick up as many points as we can.
Well done tonight.
Thank you. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Well, Rob Edwards saying that they are improving. You can absolutely see that in the performances that they're putting in at the moment. We spoke a lot about what they're going to look like next season. They're in a really difficult position at the moment in the table. But are the games now for them just showing signs of that development, that improvement that they wanted to see?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Rob, it takes time, doesn't it? I think when you're trying to fix a football club, you've been handed